Good morning, everyone. My name is Madeline.
I'm Shelby.
And welcome back to Sip Talk. Today, we're going to be exploring elitism and HBCU culture. HBCU standing for Historically Black College and Universities. In this podcast episode, I'm going to be interviewing my dear friend Shelby Halley, who is a student at Clark Atlanta University, an HBCU in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hello, everyone. I am Shelby Halley, a sophomore mass media arts scholar, hailing from the city with soul, Jackson, Mississippi, and you are now tuning in to Sip Talk, where we talk about everything that you want to hear. Just two girls from Mississippi bringing the tea to you.
Today, you're here with Madeline Nicole Griffith from the 601 Jacktown, Jackson, Mississippi. I am a sophomore at Tougaloo College, and like you said, we're two girls from Mississippi, and we're going to be talking about elitism,
and how that affects mental health at our HBCUs. And so we're going to dive into some other topics, but elitism is our main topic here today, and we're just going to talk about how that can affect our HBCU campuses from Howard, Spelman, Clark Atlanta University, Tougaloo, Jackson State, all our HBCUs across the United States, across our nation. So let's dive into it.
All right, I feel like this is most prevalent in Howard and Spelman and Morehouse. Like Howard, I'm speaking from like friends telling me, and then like Spelman and Morehouse, I'm speaking on like what I see on social media. So I think I want to make that clear because like some people are like, well, you don't even go here, but like I said,
it's clear in media.
Yeah,
and one of the biggest things, like I know a lot of people talk about like the big three. Of course, you got Howard, you have Spelman, Hampton,
also big three.
You have Morehouse, but this is something that also affects like pretty much any HBCU campus, like especially like thinking, being in the AUC, I can see it and how it's prevalent and how it takes over our campuses, especially during like HBCU campaign season, and when you're just like getting to the yard and you're trying to see who's like dominant, who's not. It's very evident, especially like Spelman is the number one HBCU. So when you think about number one HBCU, what do you see like in the media? Like I think about A Different World and like Hillman, like all of that stuff. But the media influences all of this, but it really just starts at our HBCUs and how it traces back to just like, I was even like, we did a little research before this and like even like traces back to brown paper bag tests, like just all of these things and stereotypes that were made on our HBCU campuses have traced into now, and it just, you have to fit that certain stereotype to be at our HBCUs or to be prevalent.
Also, it goes back to like how we treat each other in the Black community, and it goes back to that because I really got into an argument with this girl up in the north. So for those who don't know, I'm currently attending Brown University up in Rhode Island. They're like a semester exchange program, and so a lot of them have never met somebody from Mississippi, and so I got into like a little bit of a tidbit with this other Black girl from the north. She's from Maryland. And we lucky got into an argument because I was like, hot take, the South is better than the North. Like every like Black American person has originated from the South. Everything in America originates from the South. And she was like, what did she say? So she was like, oh, things like that is what starts diaspora wars. Girl, what are you talking about diaspora wars? I'm not even talking about the African diaspora. And she was like one of her arguments was like Martha's Vineyard. And like, how are you going to use Martha's Vineyard as an argument when like Martha's Vineyard, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing place. I love the Black excellence there. But most of the people from Martha's Vineyard are very like light brights, Spelman, Jack and Jills, and low-key coons, because they kind of associate like elitism with a little bit of like, not elitism, but like excellence, quote unquote, with like whiteness and like getting away from like stereotypical Black culture, just like Blackness in general. And so like, and I'm speaking from the like learning from friends who have been to Martha's Vineyard, and like I said, I've never been there before, going in the summer. But historically, like the culture of Martha's Vineyard is like light skinned families from Jack and Jill, Spelman, Morehouse families, grads, and et cetera, et cetera. And I feel like that kind of cultivates into like elitism, and then we started looking at, like you said, the paper bag. Well, who were considered like higher up in like older days? Well, light skinned people, most closely looking white. And so I feel like a lot of that, and that's why I hate when people like slavery was so long ago. Like everything is really
traced back to that.
slavery.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately.
Absolutely. Like, even thinking back to Howard, and like when I was doing a bit of research, just like before I joined my like sorority, and just researching other sororities, or like how Howard was pre like all like before my days. Like, we're in 2026. Like, go back to like early 1900s. Like, just think about how divided they were, even like in the early days. So while yes, we think about Howard, Black Mecca, you even trace back to then, like, we have brown paper bag tests to be able to like, and it's, allegedly to like get into sororities, or it's just certain stigmas surrounding our people that were actually true, because our people just like, no, you can't be a part of our group if this, or like even outside of that, just they probably had subgroups at Howard just because of like, oh, well, maybe you're a little darker, or maybe I'm colorist and I don't know how I feel about that, or even just going back. It's a lot of stuff that I had to research,
and
but
like, it's kind of hard to blame them, because like these were, think about who, like, like,
who came before them.
I'll say, think about who their parents were. Slaves. Their parents were slaves.
So they internalized a lot of the stuff that they
so it's
were
like,
experiencing.
It's hard to like blame them, because like, it's saying like, why are y'all acting like this? Like, come on, like, why are y'all acting like this? We are all, at the end of the day, what's that song by Kanye? Like, you still, even in you being, you still, even if you in the Benz, you still a nigga in a coupe. Like,
even if you in the Benz, you still a nigga in a coupe. Come on.
You all still like, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Like, that kind of red. Like, you still black at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people fail to recognize. And I'm glad you said that. You still black at the end of the day. Let's go back to the start. Like, HBCUs were started because we didn't have a space to be in to achieve higher education. So there were white spaces that we could not integrate into. For one, it wasn't even legal. But then two, we couldn't be in those spaces because we could potentially be harmed. We weren't even going to be properly taught, educate. Like, it doesn't matter. So when we think about just going back in history and why HBCUs were created, that's why elitism is such a problem in today's time. Because not only harmful. Did we steer off and just make these communities so we can thrive, but now we're like, literally, I had this conversation with one of my professors one day. They don't believe on black crime, but essentially, no. But essentially, I feel like it's a black on black type of thing. Like, we're in a community in which we're supposed to be uplifting each other, because everybody outside of our community is not even rooting for us. So that is where the problem lies.
When we have elitism on our campus, and just in like the black culture in general, we are harming each other. We are actively harming each other and keeping ourselves back and continuing generational trauma that we need to let go. And so it's hard to talk about certain things in the black community, because a lot of this is not our fault. Like, look at the freaking crack epidemic. Like, a lot of this stuff that's happening right now is not our fault. However, we cannot continue to...
We can't use it as an excuse either.
Exactly.
We cannot, because we have to make strides towards doing better.
You have to remember the program.
And really, that's a charge to anybody who would be listening. If you are on an HBCU campus, or even if you're in your own space and you are a black person who is willing to make change, this would be the change that you want to see, because we often have these conversations, but to actively see change, we have to make strides towards doing something different.
And have these conversations with our friends as well.
So whether that looks like advocating for somebody, if you feel like they're being bullied on Fizz, or you see something during campaign season, it's not right. All of these things matter, because that erases the stigma around these HBCUs and around our communities. And that's how you debunk all of that, if you're actually being an advocate. So, but we definitely owe it to our community, and we owe it to our ancestors to just continue to light the way for the people that come after us, but do it in a way where we're fostering these healthy communities that people will continue to grow and evolve. So, yeah.
Overall, during our discussion in our kind of conversational interview, we discovered that elitism is truly a black on black crime, and really perpetuates a horrible narrative within the black community and on our HBCU campuses, and like I said, just in black communities in general. And so, as Shelby mentioned, it's important to stick up for others and advocate for others. And that's how we debunk a lot of this misinformation. So if you enjoyed this episode, we hope to see you again next week with Sip Talk.